All right, so check this out. We are about to check out the beautiful Liberty model home built by Riverside Homes here in the Reflections, located in the highly desirable Nocatee neighborhood here in Northeast Florida. This specific model home has a feature in it that I can't wait to show you in the backyard, so you're not going to miss that. And we are, like I said, in Nocatee, which is the premier community here in Northeast Florida that people are constantly moving to. So definitely one of those things that, if you want to know more on, you want to make sure you reach out. With that being said, let's check out this beautiful floor plan. All right, so now we're going to check out this floor plan as I mentioned. And the first thing you're going to notice when we come up, we do have this little front porch up here. They did do some different elements here to give you some shade with the windows off the front. A little more of a coastal feel, something that we're seeing more often here in Nocatee. And it really plays into the fact that we are so close to the beaches. We're only about 30 minutes or less from the beaches here. And realistically, that's a great time frame to be at, to be able to get to the beach. And that's why you see so many coastal elements with this location. So as we come in, you do have your stairwell going upstairs to your 4 bedrooms. They did do the wood all the way up, which is a nice touch. It definitely gives it a little more of a high-end feel. And then on the flooring for the main first floor, they actually do give you wood as well. Now this wood is a little bit more of your traditional lighter colored wood, which is becoming way more popular than it used to be. We used to have those grays, and now we're having more of the lighter browns. So the browns are coming back. Down here, we do have our half bath for guests. With this half bath, you do, as you can see here, they have some nice quartz countertops. They also have, some additional cabinetry down below with gold hardware. And the gold hardware is a very signature thing with Riverside for their models. They love that gold hardware as well as their pastel colors. So you're gonna see a lot of pastel here with this specific builder because that's just one of their MOs. Then from the foyer, we actually come out to our living and dining and kitchen space. So this living, dining, kitchen space, it's a great space to be able to entertain, to be able just to have everyone in one spot. Because really for a house like this, the question always becomes, what am I getting with this kind of house? And what's the price that it starts at, and what am I getting for that price? Well, for this one, the price of the Liberty actually starts at $640,000. And this is a 2,400 square foot house, 2,390 to be exact. So at 2,400 square feet, it definitely gives you a lot of space for your family, whether if it's just you and your young couple, or if you have a young kid or multiple kids, you have the space for that. As far as the kitchen, they did continue that quartz countertop throughout here. We do have that really nice, big, deep sink. And we also have some of the same cabinetry we saw in the half bath, more of that pastel green, but then they offset it with this really nice white. Again, with all gold hardware as well. And with this being a gas community, they do give you that gas cooktop. You do with it also have your hood for the gas cooktop. And because you have the gas cooktop, they do give you some additional cabinetry, storage space down below, which is all soft close, which is something that I personally love. Another thing too to kind of bring up is this house has 10-foot ceilings. So what they did to add more cabinetry is they actually had the cabinets go up to the ceiling on this one to give you that much more storage space for this house. But let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on having 10-foot ceilings? Do you think that's enough? Do you think you need more? Would you prefer to see 12-foot ceilings? One thing I can tell you is nowadays we're only really seeing 10-foot ceilings here in Nocatee, whereas we did see some 9-foot ceilings back when the neighborhood was first built. A couple other things too with this kitchen, we do have our fridge here, we have our microwave oven combo, and we also have a small, I wouldn't say small, but we have a good size pantry off of the kitchen. So plenty of space for your food and other items for your kitchen. Then from there, we have our living room. And with the living room, a couple things I want to highlight, and this isn't just for the living room, but they did do crown molding throughout. Crown molding is one of those things that we always say, if you want it, it's always good to know what the builder is charging for it. And again, if you're getting certain incentives from the builder, then you can always use some of those for crown molding. But that's one of those ones where we do tell buyers a lot of times that if you want it but don't want to have the builder do it, if you want to allot your money for other things, you can always do it after the fact, because it's something that can be done quite often. And with this living room too, it does open us up to the dining room. Now this dining room, again, is a really good sized space. If you've seen my other videos, I probably sound like a broken record, but this is a really good sized dining room with having a large table here. They only have it set for a 6-seater, but you could easily do more, and you could easily do a much larger dining room table. This dining room space could fit definitely an 8-seater table, maybe even a 10-seater table. I'd love to actually try that out if I had the ability, and kind of compare them and see which one, which size table does it get to the point where you're just like, well, this is just too much. It makes space too small. But right now, with a 6-seater, it's plenty of room. As you can see here, you have tons of windows on the back wall. You have your sliders here. You have tons of windows on your side walls, because this is a 40-foot wide lot, house. And so with a 40-foot wide lot, it's gonna feel a little bit tighter. But what they did to combat that is they added tons of windows with this space. So it really does just maximize the look, allows plenty of natural light in, doesn't make you feel like you're claustrophobic or in too small of a space. And so it's one of those things that I love to see, because it really does help the space feel the best it can. Now, one thing I would like to then see is to have had like a tray ceiling here in the living room, give that room a little bit of an extra height with another foot ceiling. Not the worst thing ever. Probably something you could check with Riverside, or we could check with Riverside to see if they could do. And sometimes they can't, just because of the fact you do have the second story above it. But if they can, I would always highly suggest that, because it just draws people's eyes to it, and it really does maximize the look of the living room. Now, with that being said, that's gonna be our downstairs portion. We are now gonna head upstairs, where we're gonna have 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And don't forget either that after that, we are actually gonna go outside and check out that beautiful feature I was telling you about in the backyard. All right, let's go upstairs now. All right, so now we are upstairs for this Liberty floor plan. Keep in mind, this floor plan gives you 4 bedrooms and 3 full bathrooms up here. So even though it's only on a 40-foot wide lot, sometimes you wonder, okay, am I gonna get a lot of space, a lot of room, a lot of square footage and living space for it? You still do, because of how they position this floor plan. So we're gonna start off with the 2 guest bedrooms and the laundry room and the guest bathroom up here. And then we're gonna check out the mother-in-law suite as well as the primary, so stay tuned for that. So the laundry room here, it does have a pocket door, so you have that ability to kind of close the space off. It does have enough space so you could do a sink in here, still have plenty of cabinetry, and they continue the same kind of cabinetry look as what we saw downstairs with the part of the cabinets in the kitchen. Then we have our first guest bathroom. Now this is gonna be for the 2 bedrooms. This is gonna give you a single vanity. You most likely have the option to do a double vanity, but the builder on this one side just do a single. And they also went to more of those brown cabinets, which are still very popular today. And it offsets well with the gray square tile and the white square tile. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. White square tile for the shower tub combo. Now, one thing that they did here that I do want to point out, they went with more just the standard chrome finishes. So you do have your chrome for your faucets, you have your chrome for your faucet on the sink. So the chrome's not a bad thing, but that is what typically be what the builders can do as their standard across the board. And that's not just for Riverside, it's going to be for most of your builders in general. So bedroom number 1 though over here, again, pretty good size. One thing you may notice, and if you don't, I want to make sure I point it out. In this bedroom, we do have 8-foot ceilings. So let me know in the comment section your thoughts on that. Do you like the 8-foot ceilings? Are you confused on why they went to 8-foot ceilings? Because I can tell you the reason they did is because with the way the layout is, the way that the house is built, it just did not allow for additional room for 9-foot ceilings throughout the 2nd floor, which is what you're normally gonna find as a standard here with most of these builders in Nocatee. But it's a good size room. Obviously they do have only a single bed, but you could easily do a queen size bed in here as well. And just that way, we always want to make sure we highlight it. You do have a walk-in closet here. So even though it's a little bit of a smaller room, you still do get that good sized walk-in that you'd want to have for your kids or for a guest, or even if you just need more storage space in general. Then we have bedroom number 2 over here. Somewhat of a similar situation, similar size, similar look. This one probably you are going to be limited. You may not want to do a queen size bed in here, but you do have that ability to potentially do it. But it makes more sense to have a single or a full. And we also have a walk-in on this one as well. So again, just want to highlight a couple of these. Always great to have those walk-ins to just be able to, again, have that additional storage. So that's going to bring us from the front of the house, the front wing, to the back wing of the house. Now, the back wing of the house, we're going to have a couple things here to highlight. Did forget to mention this. We do have a linen closet here because, again, you can never have enough storage. It's one of those things, to have that storage is huge because, if you need it and you don't have it, you're never going to get it. But if you have it, if you don't need it, at least you know if you did, it's there. We do have our AC closet upstairs, so that's again very typical for these floor plans. And then it brings us to our mother-in-law suite. So the reason this is called a mother-in-law suite, or it could be more of a space for a teenager, is because you do have your typical bedroom. In this case, there's a queen size bed in here to show you, a perspective of the size with some end tables. But what makes it that mother-in-law suite is the fact that you actually also get your own bathroom with this. So this bedroom has its own bathroom. So it's almost like a mini master where they do have a single vanity here. They really finished it off well with some nice tile choices. And then if you want to come on in here, just want to highlight this beautiful shower tub enclosure. The reason I want to highlight it is because they did do some nice upgrades with that kind of subway tile backsplash. And they went back to that gold hardware that we, goldish brass hardware that we saw downstairs. And you still do get your walk-in closet with this one, just like the other 2 bedrooms. A little smaller, but still a walk-in. It's almost like a coat closet that you see a lot of times downstairs, but still nice to have that over the bifold doors we see a lot, or even the slider doors. And this bedroom is actually going to be right off of our loft. Now with this loft, we do have a 9-foot ceiling in it, and you may ask yourself, well, Justin, you were saying we have 8-foot ceilings, and we do. But what they were able to at least do for the loft is they were able to do a tray ceiling to add an extra foot of height. And a tray ceiling, that is what it is there for. It's to, push the ceiling up some and make it more of a focal point and add more height to a space. So it's great when a builder can do that to be able to make the space feel bigger. Not builder, bigger. And then off of our loft is going to be our primary. So I know you've been waiting for it. The primary is really where, in my opinion, the space of the house has been best utilized. You do still have a little bit of linen closet off your primary, which is a nice feature. And then when you come into your primary, I mean, it's expansive. It's very large. They added tons of windows in here to really bring in tons of natural light. This is a space that you could wake up in the morning and you're gonna love every time you wake up here because of just how big it is, how open it is. Again, just like with the loft, they did give you that tray ceiling here, so we have that 9-foot height in here. They did the wood inlay to really maximize the effect. And overall, as you can tell here, we have our king size bed. We have 2 large end tables. We have a large, I could sleep on this, the little sitting area here to take your shoes off. I mean, it's such a large space. We even still have a dresser in here. So you really do have a lot of space here, but it gets better. Because here's the thing. You think, okay, it's a big bedroom. That means the bathroom, the closet's gonna be small. Well, guess what? We're gonna just check this out real quick. Look at how big this closet is. This is truly a walk-in closet. To get perspective, we're gonna keep the camera at the door. I mean, just look how far away I am on screen. It just kind of shows you, don't hit your head on the wire racks, but it just shows you on screen just how much space this master closet, or primary closet is. We don't use the word master. Shows you how big the closet is for this primary. So again, from the standpoint of storage, from the standpoint of being able to do some custom closets in here, you have that ability to do it. So it's honestly, it's a great thing to see here, because to have that space, You may be watching this video, you may say, well, I don't need all that space in the primary, I'd rather have some of it distributed to their bedrooms. I get that. And part of me does agree with that. But part of me also understands the point of making the primary truly primary. You want to stand apart. You want it to be different than the rest. And another piece of it that makes it different is this primary bathroom. So this primary bathroom I was actually talking to somebody about this just recently, but sometimes with these primaries, you don't get a ton of cabinetry space. You may get a couple doors like these underneath the sink, but you don't get the pullouts. If you do get the pullouts, you may get like one set of pullouts, here. But with this one, I mean, we get tons of pullouts. You have pullouts on both sides of the sink, but you also have these massive large pullouts. I mean, that is just something you don't find in homes at this price point or even higher price points. And then they finish it off with a nice subway tile kind of look with the offset, not necessarily subway tile, but that offset look with that tile on the floor. They give you your big, deep, bathtub, and they still give you the shower as well. So you have the shower, the tub. Obviously, if you don't want that, we can say get rid of this and we can do one large shower with the builder. And you have those options, those variations with it, and you still even get your water closet off to the side there, which we don't necessarily need to show, but it's nice to have it off to the side with its own door just to separate the space. So I mean, this is really, for the price point, to be in the low 600s is really a great size primary, and one of the better ones you're gonna find for new construction, not just here in Nocatee, but in all of Northeast Florida. So honestly, it's a lot, but it's a lot of good. And with that being said though, we still have more to see. So we're now gonna go downstairs and check out that beautiful backyard. I'm gonna show you that feature that I was mentioning, and I wanna get your thoughts on that as well. So let's go ahead and check that one out now. All right, so now we're gonna check out this backyard I was telling you guys about. Now, here in Florida, here in Nocatee, a big piece of living here is to be able to be outside, to be able to enjoy being outside, and to have aspects out here to be able to do what you want. And so one of the things that ultimately I love that they did here is the paver back patio. I love the fact that it's all under one roof. So what does that mean? That means that they actually extended the roof line further out to be over this patio, so that way it's still under the same roof. You're not gonna have a metal, you're not gonna have a metal shed, kind of structure with the roofing. It's gonna be all the same shingle as the rest of the house. And you have that ability to kind of also screen it in if you don't wanna deal with bugs, anything like that. Or you can leave it open, and that way you get more of that natural element with the breeze, with some sun. So you have options there. And then this is what I love about it. When you live in Northeast Florida, specifically Florida, one of the things that people tend to love doing here is they love to watch sports. I'm a big sports junkie myself. I'm a diehard Jaguars fan. Even though they put me through quite a bit of misery. I can speak for a lot of people here in Jacksonville and Northeast Florida that no matter how bad they are, we still always support them, no matter how much they frustrate us. But this is a space where I could see myself, with friends, watching the football game, watching basketball during March Madness, watching the college playoffs, whatever the time of the year is. This is a space to be able to have the TV mounted the way it is, to have the gas fireplace there. It really just gives you everything you would want to have. So that way, whether it's hot, you don't have to worry about the fireplace, but if it's cold, you can still have the fire going, with the gas fireplace. Keeps people outside, keeps people entertained, provides more of an ambiance, and still gives you the ability too, with this floor plan, to still do a pool back here if you wanted to. This backyard is a very good sized backyard, and do keep in mind some of the lots, may be bigger than this, some may be smaller than this with this model, but most of them will typically allow you that ability to do a pool if you wanted to. So that's the thing too, is at the end of the day, there's a lot of different things you can do with this house, but with the backyard the way it is, it really makes it an entertaining, spot, no matter who you are, to be able to have people come over and have them just be able to enjoy being out here. And with that, we are now going to go back to the office. We're gonna go back on screen, and I'm gonna give you even more detail about Nocatee and Riverside Homes, so that way you have everything you know about what it's like to live here in Nocatee. All right, let's go check that out. All right, so now we are back to look at Nocatee as a whole and discuss not just what it means to live in Nocatee, but also what it means to live in Northeast Florida, because there's a lot to do here that people don't always know about. You know, obviously we've already discussed the kinds of houses you can get in Nocatee, but I also want to kind of do a deeper dive into the area as a whole. So on the map that you see here, this is going to show us all of Nocatee. So Nocatee is a very big stretch of land. You know, it is quite a large size, and I want to say it's 9,000 plus acres of just land, and I think another 5,000 acres of homes, 4,000 or 5,000 acres of homes. So as you can see here, a lot of it has been kept natural. And also, as you can see, there's not too many sections left to finish. You know, we were in the Reflections up over here, but the Reflections is one of the last neighborhoods in Nocatee, as previously mentioned. And so because of that, when it comes to finding a home here in Nocatee, whether if it's new construction or if it's a pre-existing house, you have options at your disposal because of the fact that the neighborhood is almost finished. Now, a couple things I want to highlight here is we're going to actually start off with going away from the map and looking at Nocatee on this very cool interactive map that the developer, the park group, gives to anyone that wants to be able to see more about what there is in Nocatee. So as I've mentioned previously, you know, we were in the Reflections today at Seabrook, which is going to put us kind of in the middle of the neighborhood or the community of Nocatee. Now, when we start talking about where stuff is located in relation to that, you know, what we can see here is if we add the shopping, you'll see that we have the Nocatee Town Center up here, which is where most of your restaurants and shops are going to be. And they're also adding a marketplace over here as well. That will be a second version of it, additional version of it at some point to provide more restaurants and shops for the residents of Nocatee. Then if we want to look at the schools, you know, the schools are very important to most people, and that's because here in Nocatee, the schools are one of the best in the state, not just the county, in the state. And so for our high school for here at the Reflections, we're going to have Nice High School. That's going to be the high school for pretty much anyone living in Nocatee. And Nice High School, as we'll look at in a second, is a very well desirable school and has very good ratings, as again we'll see. As far as for the elementary to middle school, which is going to be our K through 8, it's going to be Pine Island Academy. So Pine Island Academy was just recently opened the last couple of years, and it's a very popular destination for schools for the students here. However, what I do also want to point out is for Seabrook, they're actually building a new K through 8 school. So the Pine Island Academy will be the school for at least another year or two until the new K through 8 school gets developed. And then at that point, any residents in Seabrook, in this case the Reflections, are going to go to that K through 8 new school, which does not have a name yet. So just something to kind of point out. And then as far as recreation and fitness, you know, I do want to kind of mention that as well. You know, for recreation and fitness, we have tons of different options. So if you want to go to the Settlers Pond, which is a very smaller, quaint area to bring, you know, maybe your dogs or just to go play with your kids, you know, that's going to give you that option. Each neighborhood individually is going to have their own amenities and their own park, so to speak. So we have Seabrook Park for Seabrook, Crosswater Park for Crosswater, Greenleaf Park for Greenleaf, you know, so on and so forth. But then we also have over here the Nocatee Landing, which is going to be where our kayak launch is. And then we also have Nocatee Preserve and Trailhead up here. We have we actually have another kayak launch to the north as well. And then for the main amenities for the community, we have our swim club and our spray park, along with the fitness club, all right in the middle near that Nocatee Town Center. So all those really great amenities that you get when you come to Nocatee, you know, the splash water park, the spray park, you know, the zip line, the lazy river, all of those things, you know, they're very central to Nocatee. So that way, no matter where you live in Nocatee, you're only going to be probably 10 minutes or less from these amenities. So all really great things to be able to, you know, have access to that help with living in Nocatee and what makes it so great with living in Nocatee. Then when we go to the regional side of things, and we'll kind of dive into this more in the map as well, But when we go to the regional side of things, if we want to now start to include shopping, you're gonna see here we have the St. John's Town Center to the north. That's gonna be about 20-25 minutes away from Nocatee. Very popular location because of all the restaurants and shops you have there. And that really has become almost like that, center point of Northeast Florida and Jacksonville, because you have people that will drive 30 minutes to an hour any direction to come to the St. John's Town Center due to all the shopping restaurants. It also means that, if it's that time of the year, if it's the holiday season, you may want to try to stay away from there because we do get quite a bit of traffic there. Then we have the Durban Pavilion or Durban Park over here, which is going to give us additional shops, restaurants, stuff like that, almost like a mini St. John's Town Center that has just recently opened up within the last couple of years, and they are constantly expanding on it. We do have the St. Augustine Premium Outlets as well to the south. And just above it, it does not show up on the map, but just above it, we also have Rural Golf Village, which you're gonna have a Costco, Buc-ee's, Bass Pro Shop. I believe they're building a Home Depot over there as we speak. So a lot of things over there as well for other attractions that you can go to when it comes to the shopping and restaurants. Next up is recreation and fitness, which we will kind of dive into further as well, but we do have downtown St. Augustine. Again, about 30 to 45 minutes away from Nocatee. We have downtown Jacksonville, which is where we're gonna have a lot of sporting events. So we're gonna have our Jacksonville Jaguars, our Jacksonville Icemen hockey team. The Jaguars are the football team for NFL. And then we also have a minor league baseball team, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, which got its name, actually used to be the Jacksonville Suns. And they are also a minor league affiliate of the Miami Marlins. But they rebranded to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp because of the fact that the shrimping community here in Northeast Florida is a big piece of the community as a whole when it comes to commerce here, because of the fact that we do have such a large fishing scene, specifically when it comes to the shrimping. So that was kind of a homage to what Jacksonville is well known for, which is their shrimp and their shrimping. Then we also have our Jacksonville Zoo to the north, which is going to be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, drive time away from Nocatee. The Jacksonville Zoo is a private zoo here, and so therefore, because it's a private zoo, there's a cost, but I can tell you it's fully warranted, and they do all these different events for kids and for the community. So well worth the time to go check out to see just what they have to offer, because they do have quite a bit there. I mean, they even have sections of the zoo for each individual continent, so that's pretty cool as well. We also have Jacksonville Beach over here, which is a great public beach that we have. Jacksonville Beach, Neptune Beach, tons of beach access for residents to be able to park and go hang out at the beach. Can't be on the beach. If you want to drive on the beach, down here in St. Augustine and Filano Beach is the destination for you. But overall, really great beaches here, not what you're gonna find maybe on the west coast of Florida or down south, but still really good beaches all in all. We also have the Lodge and Club over here, which the Lodge and Club, as a resident of Nocatee, you get a discount for if you want to become a member. But the Lodge and Club is a great location to come visit, to stay at, or to have guests stay at, just because of the fact that you are right on the ocean, and their facilities, their amenities are to die for. Definitely the best in the area for people who are visiting. So definitely something to consider as well. As far as for airports, we do have multiple, but the biggest one I'm going to reference here is going to be Jacksonville International Airport. That is our largest airport here in the area, and that's going to be about an hour or 45 minutes to an hour drive from Nocatee as well. And with the Jacksonville National Airport, it goes to a lot of different destinations, and it's constantly expanding. So we are seeing it, grow larger and larger as we speak. And so with it growing larger, it's going to be able to start providing more destinations, not just domestically, but also overseas. So that'll be a great thing to be able to have access to, because currently for some of it, you do have to go to Orlando or Miami or Atlanta to get to maybe some more foreign destinations, because Jacksonville doesn't have the ability to do that. Otherwise, you're flying from Jacksonville to one of those other airports, and then from there to your destination. And then lastly, I do want to just reference the different military ports we have here. So Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, Nocatee, it's very well known for its military community. We have the NAS Jacksonville Naval Air Station over on the west side of Jacksonville. We also have Mayport on the east, right at the entrance to the from the intercoastal to the ocean. And with those two destinations right there, it brings a lot of people to the area. You know, we do have a lot of relocation here, and a lot of people will actually be in Nocatee as well as they're stationed here, and they typically don't mind the 45-minute or so drive to either one of these locations because, again, you're living in Nocatee. So all in all, a lot of different things at your fingertips. Now, to start to dive further into it, I want to start off with talking about the schools. So Pine Island Academy, which is the K-8 currently, is rated a 9 out of 10 on greatschools.org. So not my word for it, you know, this is Great Schools, so obviously everyone has their own opinion, but what I like about Great Schools is it comes from multiple opinions, and it's constantly being updated depending on different factors that become more prevalent, you know, each year with parents and teachers. So currently right now, it's rated an 85th percentile in Florida for student progress, 89 for test scores, and 99th for equity. So all in all, very high marks across the board for Pine Island Academy. Then from there, we have Allen D. Neese High School. So Allen D. Neese High School is going to be the school of choice for all of Nocatee for public high schools. And as you can see here, Allen D. Neese High School is a 10 out of 10 as far as its overall rating. It does have a 87th percentile for Florida for student progress. It has a 95th percentile for test scores. Now, the biggest things I like to look at are the equity rating, which is in the 100th percentile, but also the college readiness rating, which is in the 90th percentile. So when it comes to preparing your high school aged child for college and getting into some of the best colleges in Florida or throughout the country, this just goes to show you that you don't have to go the private school route, because the public schools here in Nocatee are by far one of the best in the state, in this case 90th percentile. So that's a little bit about the schools. Now, as we dive into the different attractions, I want to start off with the Jacksonville Zoo, which, as you can see here, these are just some different pictures that have been taken over time. You can feed the giraffes, which is a very cool aspect. We do have the elephants as well. We have this really cool overhead area for the monkeys and apes area where they can actually walk above you. So that's always kind of a cool thing to see. They do these different events with dinosaurs every so often. You'll have those around the facilities. But yeah, just a couple of different shots to kind of show you just what the Jacksonville Zoo has to offer. We have multiple different animals. We have lions, we have tigers, elephants, rhinos, giraffes, just to name a few. So I mean, you do have quite a bit of options to be able to see, the Florida panther as well, when you go to visit. Monkeys, apes, you name it. Then from there, I want to just also reference, our main sports teams. So we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, which have been around since 1995, and they are located downtown. So again, if we want to go to the map now, from Nocatee here, if we want to expand out, our Jacksonville facilities for the downtown area, where you can find the football stadium, the baseball stadium, the hockey stadium, are all right here. So we have Everbank Field, which is where the Jaguars play, the Jumbo Shrimp, which again is where the Jumbo Shrimp play, and then 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena is actually where the Icemen play. So they're all really essentially located to each other, which is a very cool aspect, because it's kind of a one-stop shop to go see these different sporting events. But the Jaguars, they've been around since 1995, very well known. One thing about the Jaguars is they're not always the best team out there, but people who are from Jacksonville, who are from Northeast Florida, we'll always root for them. Duval till we die, as they say, since they're located in Duval County. So a lot to go, to go through there. As far as the Jumbo Shrimp, we do have the baseball fields downtown. The Jumbo Shrimp, the stadium, they do a lot of different events. They have events where you can bring your dog to the stadium for different games. They have kids nights. They have Thirsty Thursdays, so cheaper drinks, cheaper food options, stuff like that. So a lot of things to do with that as well. And then you have the Jacksonville Icemen, which are a very good hockey team here. And if you have not been to one of their games and you are local watching this, highly suggest you check it out. But with them, they're the newest team out of the three, but they also get a lot of support from the residents here. Then we start looking at St. Augustine to the south. So St. Augustine to the south, there's a few different attractions with St. Augustine because it's very historic. We actually have St. George Street, which is where you have a lot of restaurants and shops and history. And it's a very cool street because it's a very walkable street. And ultimately, there's a lot of things you can do there, a lot of different things you can learn about the area. And one thing that they actually do there as well is during the winter time, they actually do the Night of Lights. So the Night of Lights is when the community comes together and they put lights pretty much anywhere and everywhere to really show off the history, show off the architecture of St. Augustine. So honestly, that's a really cool aspect that if you haven't been to, whether if you're local or not, it's definitely worth checking out to be able to learn more about. And then we also have the St. Augustine Fort. So the St. Augustine Fort here has been around for much longer than any of us have, but this fort it's beautiful. Just the way it was designed, where it's located right on the waterway. It's one of those things you can actually schedule time to tour it. Something that I would definitely suggest anyone, especially if you're a history junkie like myself, to check out because it's right next to St. George Street, so you have that ability to make a day trip out of it, where you go to the fort, you go down St. George Street. We have a Ripley's Believe It or Not you can go to as well while you're down there. So there's a lot that you can do in a day trip. But even if you want to spend the weekend, they have bed and breakfasts down there, which are very quaint and located really close to St. George Street. So really, a lot that you can do with it. And as mentioned with the map, St. George Street's going to put us just to the, not St. George Street, but St. Augustine's going to put us just to the south. So we'll come back to the map in a second to kind of show you all that. But then, I do want to also mention the Jacksonville International Airport. So the International Airport, like I said, is constantly expanding. Currently we have 2 terminals, but we are getting a third. So just really cool increase in location, increase in, like I said, terminals and more airplanes to be able to come through. So really just good to know you have that at your disposal if you need to travel while living here. And then we have Ponte Vedra Inn and Club. So this is what I had mentioned. You get but you get a discount membership if you're a Nocatee resident. So Inn and Club, you can golf there, you can play tennis. The facilities are amazing. If you want to get massages, if you want to hang out at the beach. So just really pristine location and something that you should definitely check out while here as well. And then for the beaches, we do have Jack's Beach here. Jack's Beach is, like I said, a public beach. You get to pay for parking down there, but overall, a lot of the beach is not normally too busy, so you always have a chance to kind of get your own little section of the beach. Our water here is darker because of the fact that we do get the water from the St. Johns River that flows into the ocean, so we don't get that crystal blue, so to speak, that you get in South Florida or the West Coast. But we still get really good water here and really good fishing as well due to it. So a lot to like with that as well. So going back to Google Maps real quick as we wrap this up. So as mentioned, we have downtown Jacksonville, we have the stadium. Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens is going to be to the north. We do have the airport to the north as well. The beaches, as you can see here, we have Atlantic Beach down to Ponte Vedra Beach, even all the way down to Volano Beach, where, like I mentioned, you can actually drive on the beach. So a ton of beaches down there. We have St. Augustine down here as well, which, as I mentioned, is well worth the trip. To the north of Nocatee again, Nocatee being right over here. We do have the St. John's Town Center up here. We have the Durban Pavilion, Durban Park over here to the west. And then to the south, we have our Buc-ee's, Costco, stuff like that. And again, what I love about Jacksonville too is, this is the last thing I'm gonna end it on, is where you're at in relation to other areas and other cities that you may wanna visit. So with Jacksonville, with Nocatee, we are only 2 hours or so away from Orlando, about 3.5 hours from Tampa, about 5 hours from Miami, and about 2.5 hours from Savannah, and 5.5 to 6 hours to Atlanta. So the reason I bring that up is because ultimately when you're thinking about living in this area, it's important to know that you have other destinations at your disposal that are not too far away. So if you want to make a a day trip or a weekend trip to these locations, you have that ability to, which it's a very central location to all of those. So with that being said, it really gives you the best of both worlds, where you can get in an area with great schools and great local amenities that's very family friendly, but you're also really close to all these major areas that you want to go visit, that you can drive to and spend the weekend there, or even spend a longer, maybe a week there. So you have all those things at your disposal. And with that being said, we're gonna wrap up the video with that. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or text. You can also schedule time on my calendar. The link is in the description of this video. And as always, any comments, drop those comments in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys again on our next model home tour / Nocatee neighborhood update.